I'm back again because the internet keeps asking the same question in 1,000 different ways. If protein is so important, what's the worst protein on the planet? And if you've heard about the whole planetary health diet conversation, where people argue the world should go mostly plant-based and push red meat into the corner like it's the villain of every story, you already know what some folks expect me to say. They expect me to point at steak, bacon, hot dogs, anything animal-based, and declare it the enemy. But what I'm about to show you makes a hot dog look like a simple, honest food by comparison. Not because hot dogs are magically health food, but because at least you know what kind of game you're playing. This one shows up wearing a health halo, hiding behind clean marketing, and slipping into diets like it's the responsible choice. So let's play a guessing game. I'll give you hints, and by the end, you'll know exactly what I mean. Hint number 1. It starts as an industrial extraction from defatted soy flour. Translation: this isn't a bean anymore. This is a commodity ingredient. Soybeans get processed, the oil gets pulled out, and you're left with a high-protein base that can be turned into all sorts of things. And in large-scale oil extraction, a solvent like hexane has historically been used in the industry. People will say, don't worry, it evaporates. Okay, maybe. But here's my gut-level question. If I soaked your food in an industrial solvent and then told you it's fine because most of it evaporated, would you feel good about that being your daily protein source? Some people shrug and say yes. I don't love that idea, especially when the whole point of healthy eating is supposed to be moving toward real food, not deeper into industrial processing. Hint number 2. It's basically tied to the soybean oil machine. Once you remove the valuable oil, industry doesn't want a leftover problem. It wants a leftover profit. So people figure out how to transform what remains into something marketable, shelf-stable, and extremely flexible. And then comes the genius move. Don't sell it as leftover soy. Sell it as meat substitute. Sell it as protein. Sell it as the future. Hint number 3. The magic word is restructured. This is where things start sounding like a factory tour. The material gets heated, pressurized, and pushed through an extruder, basically forced through a nozzle. On the other side, it puffs, stretches, and forms that spongy, fibrous texture that can mimic ground meat, strips, chunks, crumbles. It's engineered chew, it's engineered bite. It's designed to tell your brain this feels like meat, even though it started life as a processed flour. Hint number 4. It's not just processed, it's built. A whole food is grown, a lightly processed food is prepared, but this is constructed, it's shaped, it's standardized. And once you have these dry, sponge-like pieces, you run into the next problem: flavor. Because on its own, it tastes like nothing. Or worse, it tastes like protein. That cardboard bean protein note that no one dreams about. So the makeover phase begins. The chunks get rehydrated, often with added fats. Many products lean on added oils to improve mouthfeel, because protein without fat often feels like punishment. Then come the flavors. Not a flavor. Flavors, layers of savory notes, smoke notes, browned notes, fatty notes, grilled notes. Sometimes it's a whole orchestra of compounds working together so the final product doesn't taste like soy sponge, it tastes like beef style, or chicken style, or pork style. And this is the part people rarely connect. The protein isn't just a protein anymore. It becomes a platform for ultra-palatable engineering. Salt, fat, flavor, tuned to make you want another bite. And here's the psychological trick. Because it's plant-based, people give it an automatic pass. The packaging will shout, high in protein, no cholesterol, low saturated fat, heart-friendly. And listen, some of those claims can be technically true in narrow ways, but none of that automatically makes a food a good daily staple, especially when it's heavily processed and relies on a long list of additives to become edible and enjoyable. Now let's talk about the phrase that ends conversations, generally recognized as safe. People hear that and assume it means independently proven safe forever, no questions. In real life, food safety is messier. It depends on the full context, how often you eat it, what it's paired with, what else is in your diet, your personal sensitivity, and how the product is made. A protein molecule isn't the whole story. The product that carries it is the story. So here's the reveal. The worst protein I'm talking about in this dramatic, headline-friendly way is textured vegetable protein, often textured soy protein, TVP. It's been around for decades. It's cheap, it's convenient, it's shelf-stable, it's heavily marketed as a meat alternative. And it's not that TVP is a mystical poison you can never touch. The bigger issue is what it represents. The idea that we can replace real meals with industrial protein products and call it health, because the macro numbers look good. That's the trap. People end up hitting protein while slowly drifting deeper into ultra-processed eating. They're technically meeting targets, but their food quality collapses. They're eating protein, but not necessarily eating nourishment. And to be fair, this isn't only a plant-based problem. The same pattern happens in every direction. Bars, shakes, engineered snacks, convenience meals that are built to be hyper-palatable. But TVP is unique because it gets praised as the virtuous option while often being one of the most engineered proteins on the shelf. So what do you do with this? First, don't panic. Don't turn eating into fear. Just tighten your definition of protein. If you're plant-based, prioritize proteins that still look like food. Lentils, beans, chickpeas, tofu, tempeh, edamame, things you can recognize and cook. If you're not plant-based, same principle. Choose protein sources that look like real food and build meals around them. And if you do use TVP or meat substitutes, treat them like convenience foods, something you use sometimes, not the foundation of your diet. Look at sodium. Look at ingredient lists. Notice how much flavor engineering it takes to make it taste like something. Because at the end of the day, the reason TVP ends up at the top of the worst protein list in this kind of video isn't because it has protein. It's because it's protein wearing a costume, constructed, restructured, flavored, and marketed in a way that can quietly pull people away from real meals. In the jungle of nutrition debates, everyone argues about meat versus plants. But the more important fight, especially for everyday health, is real food versus ultra-processing. And TVP, for a lot of people, is the perfect example of how something can look healthy on the front while being a factory project on the inside. So here's the takeaway. Don't let a protein number on the label trick you into outsourcing your entire diet to factories. Aim for protein that still looks like food. Keep ultra-processed substitutes in the sometimes category, and always check what your protein is packaged with: salt, oils, and flavor chemistry. If you want, I'll make a simple real food protein cheat sheet you can follow without tracking macros all day. And in the next video, I'll show you the most practical, highest satiety proteins for energy and focus without turning your kitchen into a lab. See you there.